Tampa police are not calling the Seminole Heights killer a serial killer just yet, but the FBI is defining serial killer as the killing of two or more people by the same person at different times, hence the word serial. And I know that when I think of famous, I hate to use that word, but it is, they're famous serial killers, the same kind of guy typically comes to mind. Basically, white, middle-aged men. Think about it. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Son of Sam, the Boston Strangler, the Angel of Death, all middle-aged white men who are portrayed by the media always as being somewhat clever, which of course is not really true. But the suspect police are looking for in Seminole Heights is an African-American male standing between 6 feet and 6'2". And I looked into the numbers. According to Huffington Post, there have been over 2,500 serial killers throughout American history of all races, sexes, and guess what? Both male and female. And some just don't fit that traditional stereotype that I think the media has kind of made famous, and many have been African American. So look at what I found here. Henry Louis Wallace killed at least 10 women in the 1990s in North Carolina. He's on death row right now. Carl Eugene Watts, aka the Sunday Morning Slasher, you might have heard that name. He killed more than 100 women in the 70s and 80s. He died in 2007. Chester Turner, one of the men suspected of killing more than 100 women in South Central Los Angeles in the 80s and 90s. He's on death row right now. And Paul Drousseau, right across the state in Jacksonville, murdered 7 Florida women. 2 were pregnant in the 90s and early 2000s. He's currently on death row right now. So the question is, what does all this mean? Well, it basically means that a serial killer can be anyone, any color, male or female, and not just what we might think stereotypically, which is clearly a more media-driven perception.